What is the difference between timeout and procrastination? As writers, we're told that writing is about perseverance, even about pain, that we just need to stick with it. But we also want to enjoy the experience. How can we give ourselves a break when we need it and when it will actually help the quality of our writing over the medium term? And how can we see when it's just procrastination? That's what I want to talk about in this video. I've split the video into 3 parts. The first I call scheduled breaks, the second process breaks, and the third is all about the P word, procrastination. Firstly, scheduled breaks. These are the ones that you diarize in advance. I want to talk through some principles that have helped me through 8 years of writing on the side of my job. The first principle here is to stack the deck in your favor. You want to identify those times where writing flows for you and when it is hard. Don't force yourself, don't make it hard by scheduling writing at the wrong times. I like to spread my writing out, so I also schedule writing at weekends. Other people may want Saturday and Sunday entirely free, so they want to place more emphasis on writing during the week. Find when it is easy for you, and when it is hard, that is when you use your breaks. Second principle I developed in my own practice. It may or may not be useful for you. Every 6 weeks, I do not write at the weekend. This came from monitoring my progress, my mood, over maybe a few months, maybe a year. I noticed over time that around every 6 weeks, I would go on sort of a passive strike. So at the weekends, I would have my laptop open. I would be sat there, but I wouldn't really be typing anything. I would kind of be looking around in a daze. And I realized that I just wasn't getting much done. Therefore, I decided to say that these weekends, I schedule them as complete me time. The third point here is around holidays. From my experience, I would advise keeping them entirely writing free. A few years ago, I used to say, look, writing is fun, it's a passion, it's a form of exploration. So when I'm on holiday, it should feel natural to write. It shouldn't feel like work. But what I found was I would drag my laptop with me, be sat by the poolside, and it would be there reminding me of the work that I felt I needed to do. I wouldn't do it, and yet it would give me that slight stressor every time that I looked in my bag. I decided instead to leave the laptop at home. Now, if you're out walking in the city or having a new experience and you feel inspired to jot some ideas down, go for it. Otherwise, I think holidays are just a great time for absorbing the work of others, and you can get back to it when you're back home. I want to talk now about process breaks. Firstly, I want to talk about when you should just let a piece of writing lie for a while. Writing is hard. You're going to face blockages and slowdowns. Sometimes you just need to move through those. Other times you do want to give it a rest. I recommend that you triple check. If you sit down 3 separate occasions to write and face serious, consistent resistance over that session, it's time to move away from that piece for a while. Now, these don't have to be consecutive sessions. If you're writing consistently, it may just be 3 times in a single week, for example. That is your sign that you've tried your best for now, and that piece will be best served by you giving it some distance for a time. Now, it does not mean that you stop writing. It means that you alternate with another project. For example, I like to have 2 stories on the go at the same time for exactly this reason. Or there are many different tasks when it comes to writing. You may be brainstorming new ideas. You may be sending existing stories to short story competitions. Switch it up when you get these blockages. Now, time for the final point, procrastination. As I mentioned at the top of the video, what is the distinguishing factor between healthy timeout and unhealthy procrastination? From my experience, I would define procrastination as follows. When you have set up your scheduled breaks and your process breaks, and you're still not sitting down to write, that is procrastination. What if you do sit down at the scheduled times, but you're not getting anything done? This could be one of 2 things. Either you're just working on a hard face, that's to be expected in writing, it's difficult. Or you're failing to commit. You want to think whether this requires just a small solution or a big solution. I would start small. It's easier that way. For example, can you bribe yourself with a cup of coffee? Can you break down an hour into 2 or 3 pieces, like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break? You don't have to concentrate for the whole hour straight. Requiring a bigger solution would be about mental blockers, a fear of not being good enough, starting something and worrying you won't have the time or discipline to finish it. Perhaps it's stress spilling over from other areas of your life. I can do videos on these topics. Just let me know if you would find that useful in the comments. But that is basically how I try to distinguish between timeout and procrastination. To sum this up, time off can be the most productive thing you do. You want to incorporate this intentionally through scheduled and process breaks. Then you are like an army that seizes the high ground and fights from the top of the hill. But I want to say that productivity is not the most important reason why you give yourself time off. Its purpose is to serve you. You may not believe that you deserve it, or you may feel that you are falling behind your aspirations. Certainly I've had trouble with those thoughts before, but I've come to the view that it exists for both you and your writing. So win and enjoy the process of victory. If you found this video useful, there's plenty more for you here. I release a new video every 2 weeks, so subscribe to keep up to date. I'll see you next time.